And how do your opponents feel that matches are being recorded? And do you have to ask them about it? There's kind of a lot in that, but it's in being British and knowing certainly what the British tennis culture was like when I was there. It's like you're setting yourself up to be mocked a little bit the way that the British tennis culture certainly was. I don't know if it's like that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot to unpack. My initial response to kind of, that would be, I am confident enough within myself to not care. I genuinely
Yeah.
am confident within and genuinely proud of already what I've achieved in tennis. If someone said to me, when I was at 18, before I started my journey, when I had no money to make it happen, Felix, within 2 years, you're going to have an ATP point on the rankings. You're going to be top 800 in the world in doubles, and you're going to be in Doha competing in a 25K event. I would have snapped your hand off at that opportunity. I would have, like, I wouldn't have believed you. So I think to begin with, I
Hmm.
think anyone that says or, has a different opinion to me on, my journey, they're entitled to that opinion. There's no doubt about it. I'm all for freedom of speech. But for me personally, I'm proud of what I've achieved so far within tennis, and I think it's only the beginning. And I don't necessarily read too much into a lot of those comments because I think in the same way, you can say those types of things. If I suddenly, which I'm working hard, obviously day to day to achieve, begin to rise the rankings, those opinions will turn a lot to, oh my God, it's so smart, it's amazing, da da da. Or more of those people's opinions will kind of begin to change. And in terms of people at
But do you
tournament,
get those? Do you get those? Do you get you at the tournament? Do you get? It's one thing to be a keyboard warrior,
yeah,
but do you get anything actually in person at the
no,
tournament?
no. When I'm at tournaments, the vibe I get from people and players is curiosity. A lot is the main one. It's a lot
Yeah,
of people asking,
good.
can you survive? Can you afford to pay for your tennis? Is it a viable option? Of course, some people that they would never say it to my face potentially, which is why maybe I haven't heard some of the more critical sides of the story. But I think most players are respectful enough to not really out their opinion on it. I think a lot of the people, if that were to be the case, it's coming more from the curiosity element of, wow, you can kind of make it work through the tennis, like you said. And in terms of filming, I mean, most of the people are okay with it. They're all for it. They like it. They like doing their own social media stuff. Obviously, they might have different priorities, or they might not see a way of them making money from social media, so they just focus on their tennis. Which is a perfectly okay thing to kind of be doing. And some people, have said that they don't want to be recorded, and I respect that. Every opponent that I ask, I make sure. I think the rules, used to be that you just have to ask the ITF supervisor, and if he's okay with it, you can. But for me, the number one priority is making sure that the player on the other side of the net is comfortable with me recording and is comfortable with, me posting and all that type of stuff. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to be filming someone who, doesn't want it to be taken down. I'm not here to try and exploit other players for content and do all of that type of stuff. I just want to show my
Mm.
journey in the most accurate way possible, show the ups and the downs, and tell a good story about it. I think sometimes it's not all about, you know, this is week for week, day by day, hour by hour, my journey. I think a lot of it is also telling a story, allowing people to understand it. Because you've got to remember, a lot of people on YouTube don't even know what futures tournaments are. They don't understand how the tournaments work. They don't
Mm.
understand the nuances. I mean, I'd argue that 90% of people don't understand how the ranking system, the prize money, there's so much unknowns because it is the kind of the lowest level and there's
Absolutely.
specifics. And so I think kind of part of being a YouTuber and telling that story is informing people in a way that they can understand and they can relate to. And I think part of this kind of judgment and criticism that you can get from online from posting your stuff is also to do with how you portray yourself. You can show yourself as this person that only wins. You can show yourself as this person that, posts everything irrelevant of wins or losses. And tennis is one of those sports where, you look at some people and their results, unless they're rising the rankings quickly, they're going to have, let's say, 35 events a year, 15 are going to be great, and then the other 20 will be pretty average or bad. And, if you post each week, week by week, it might look like, well, okay, most of the time he's actually bad. He's not a good player. Like, what's going on? He's losing. But if you package it in the correct way and you say, okay, look, guys, this tournament, instead of showing video by video or week by week, these 3 weeks, guys, I started off terribly. I had two really bad weeks. I wasn't super proud of it. But the last week, I really worked over those 2 weeks. I grinded. I worked on these specific things with my coach. I made these adjustments, and this final week, I had a very good result. It kind of encapsulate that process of improvement, which
Mm.
is all about. And you post videos which are a little bit more like that. It kind of shows to the average person the improvement, the process, the journey, more than just this week I played this tournament and I lost my match. Thanks for watching. It's like what value do they gain there? And I think that that's something going
Yeah.
forward in 2025, telling more meaningful stories around my journey, which isn't trying to escape from showing losses. I'm all for showing losses. My first year on tour, I lost 13 first round qualifying matches in a row and then had an elbow surgery. And I posted everything, like no matter what. So I'm never going to be the guy that's like, oh, I had a bad week, let's not post it because it was bad. It's maybe, do we tie it in with a couple of other things to actually show, okay, this might have been a bad week or a bad moment, but I'm going to bounce back from it and show my response, which actually, in my opinion, is more important. The same way in a tennis match, your bounce back response from losing a game or bad service game, you can either feel sorry for yourself and, lose the set 6-1, or you can bounce back and break back straight away and send a statement. And for me, that's the most important thing. And, obviously the consistency over time is also very important.